The taping started out lighthearted, with Kelly Clarkson introducing Blake Shelton as a longtime friend and partner in crime, teasing their days on The Voice. The audience erupted in cheers, expecting a charming and fun-filled segment. However, things took a turn when Kelly shifted the conversation toward a recent comment Blake had made in another interview, jokingly referring to her as a little too loud to be a coach. What was meant to be a humorous callback landed awkwardly, especially as Kelly responded not with laughter, but with a sharp quip about how Blake hadn't exactly been winning many seasons himself. The tension grew quickly. The two, known for their banter, seemed to cross into unfamiliar territory, with Blake visibly stiffening in his seat. When Kelly followed it up by referencing his safe song choices on The Voice, the crowd laughed Blake. Didn't he lean forward and said, "You brought me on just to roast me?" Kelly replied, "Just keeping it real, Blake. You do it to everyone else." Hysterical at that point, Blake pushed back his chair slightly and muttered, "You know what? I think I've had enough of this," before standing up. The audience laughed again. Assuming it was a bit until Blake didn't stop, he waved off the stage crew and walked off camera, leaving Kelly visibly stunned. Producers scrambled during the commercial break, but Blake didn't return. Kelly tried to pivot with humor after the break, saying, "Well, Blake's always been unpredictable." But the awkwardness hung in the air. Behind the scenes, sources reported that Blake was frustrated about being set up and felt disrespected. On a show hosted by someone he considered a friend, the incident sparked massive online debates. Some called Blake thin-skinned, others felt Kelly pushed the joke too far. Either way, the footage went viral within hours, and the fallout caused a brief rift between the two country superstars. Neither has publicly commented since. Following the viral walk-off, social media ignited with divided reactions. Some fans rushed to Blake Shelton's defense, claiming he was blindsided by Kelly's tone and that the jokes crossed the line. "There's friendly teasing, and then there's just disrespect," one user wrote on X, formerly Twitter. Others sided with Kelly Clarkson, pointing out that Blake had made a career out of roasting his fellow coaches and that he couldn't take what he dishes out. Rumors swirled that producers had planned a light roasting segment, but Blake wasn't properly briefed, something insiders have neither confirmed nor denied. Meanwhile, talk shows and entertainment news outlets dissected the encounter endlessly, replaying the moment Blake stood up and walked off, trying to determine whether it was a stunt gone wrong or a genuine outburst. Multiple headlines called it the most uncomfortable moment daytime TV has seen in years. Some speculated whether the tension dated back to their final seasons on The Voice, especially since both stars had experienced major life changes since then. In the days that followed, both camps remained mostly silent. Blake canceled a scheduled appearance on another daytime show, while Kelly went ahead with a pre-taped episode that made no reference to the incident. Paparazzi caught Blake in Nashville, where he briefly told a reporter, "Sometimes people forget I'm a guest, not a target," before walking away. A source close to Kelly said she was shocked and hurt by how Blake reacted and felt the segment had been misunderstood. As the tension cooled, fans noted that both celebrities unfollowed each other on social media, fueling rumors that this friendship may be permanently fractured. Other artists who'd worked with them tried to downplay the situation, calling it a bump in the road, but the silence spoke louder. Whether this incident marks the end of Blake and Kelly's public collaborations or is just a dramatic hiccup remains to be seen. Either way, the moment cemented itself in pop culture as it's an unscripted clash between two of country music's biggest names. It's proved that even the strongest bonds can be tested under the spotlight. Days later, fans were still reeling from the shock, dissecting every possible angle in comment sections and fan forums. Theories ranged from a behind-the-scenes feud to contract disputes to even a potential prank that spiraled out of control. Some fans claimed the tension had been brewing for years, pointing to previous interviews where Blake had made subtle digs at Kelly's weight or career choices, while others believed Kelly had simply had enough of being the punchline. In a particularly telling clip from The Voice, which resurfaced shortly after the walk-off, Blake appeared visibly annoyed when Kelly interrupted him, prompting speculation that their rivalry was far more than friendly. Meanwhile, body language experts weighed in on the footage from the show, noting Blake's closed posture and forced smile, and Kelly's sharp tone and fixed gaze. As media outlets clamored for a statement from either side, NBC issued a vague comment about valuing the professionalism of all guests, but avoided assigning blame or clarifying the cause of the dispute. Eventually, Blake addressed the incident during a surprise appearance at one of his concerts, joking, "Guess I'm too country for daytime TV." The crowd roared with laughter, but the comment added more fuel to the fire. Kelly, on the other hand, remained silent for nearly 2 weeks before subtly referencing the event during a monologue on her show. "Sometimes things get misunderstood on live television," she said, "especially when strong personalities are involved." She didn't name Blake, but fans knew exactly what she was referring to. Industry insiders later revealed that the fallout may have cost the network a planned special featuring both stars, and advertisers reportedly raised concerns over the sudden negative buzz. As the dust began to settle, a few mutual friends, including former The Voice coach Adam Levine, attempted to play peacemaker behind the scenes, but neither side seemed eager to reconcile publicly. The once beloved duo of Blake and Kelly, whose on-screen chemistry had charmed millions, now stood as a cautionary tale of how egos, miscommunication, live TV can turn even the closest friendships into headline-making drama. In the weeks that followed, entertainment outlets began to dig deeper into the aftermath. A former producer from The Kelly Clarkson Show, speaking anonymously, revealed that the argument wasn't entirely unexpected. "We've had tense moments before, but this one escalated quickly," the source said. "There were signs backstage that Blake was already in a sour mood. Combine that with Kelly's assertiveness and the pressure of being live, and it was a ticking time bomb." The revelation prompted viewers to revisit older episodes and interviews, searching for missed clues in the duo's interactions. And archived segment from a holiday special where Kelly jokingly mocked Blake's Christmas album gained traction, with fans now interpreting it as the beginning of the end. Meanwhile, both stars returned to their respective lives, Kelly focusing on her music and show, and Blake retreating to his Oklahoma ranch, where he occasionally posted cryptic lyrics and one-liners on social media, stirring even more speculation. Behind the scenes, executives were left to pick up the pieces. Meetings were reportedly held to ensure tighter control over future guest appearances. Producers were instructed to avoid booking individuals who had personal tensions with the host. Rumors circulated that Blake had been quietly blacklisted from the show, while Kelly was advised to avoid addressing the matter further in interviews. Still, the public wanted closure. Fans of both stars flooded their social media pages with comments, hoping for reconciliation or at least acknowledgement. But neither budged. It wasn't until months later, during a red carpet interview, that Blake gave the incident a passing mention. "I said what I said," he told reporters with a shrug, then walked away. Kelly, when asked about the ordeal during a podcast appearance, simply smiled and replied, "Some people just don't belong in the same room." The once lighthearted camaraderie between two country music titans now existed only in reruns. While the world moved on with the uncomfortable truth that not all showbiz friendships are built to last. As time passed, the infamous clash between Blake Shelton and Kelly Clarkson continued to live on in pop culture lore. It became a talking point on talk shows, podcasts, and award ceremonies. Late-night hosts joked about it with punchlines like, "Blake Shelton finally found a voice Kelly Clarkson couldn't coach." And memes flooded the internet, one of the most viral showing Blake walking off a stage with the caption, "When the tea's too hot, even country can't handle it." Yet beyond the comedy, it sparked a broader discussion about the pressure celebrities face to maintain likability while navigating genuine emotions. Industry insiders admitted that incidents like these, though rare, reflect a deeper layer of tension in an environment that expects perfection at all times. Kelly and Blake had become unwilling symbols of the fallout that happens when authenticity collides with public image. Every clip, reaction, and analysis only deepened public fascination, turning what was originally a 10-minute segment into a multi-month media saga. Despite the ongoing chatter, both Blake and Kelly attempted to shift focus back to their work. Kelly released a new album subtly themed around resilience and emotional growth, which fans speculated included lyrics referencing the incident, particularly a track titled "No Apologies Needed." Meanwhile, Blake leaned into humor, appearing in interviews where he cheekily referenced being too real for daytime TV. While neither offered a formal apology, their separate paths seemed to acknowledge the divide without inflaming it further. Eventually, producers at The Kelly Clarkson Show edited the episode featuring the clash for future reruns, cutting out most of the contentious interaction, an attempt to preserve the show's brand and protect both stars. But the internet never forgets. Clips, reactions, and behind-the-scenes leaks remained online, immortalizing a moment that was never supposed to spiral. In the end, the incident stood as a reminder that even the brightest stars can cast long shadows in sometimes. The stage isn't big enough for two powerful voices when the harmony fades. Months after the clash, the entertainment industry began to feel the ripple effects in more profound ways, as other celebrities invited onto The Kelly Clarkson Show started setting clearer boundaries about interview topics. Publicists became more involved, pre-screening questions and demanding tighter segment controls. Kelly, always a pro, adapted by focusing more on lighthearted, music-driven conversations, but a certain tension lingered. Blake Shelton, meanwhile, scaled back on daytime talk appearances altogether. When asked in a later interview why he was avoiding certain media spots, he simply replied, "Some places just ain't my vibe anymore," a comment fans immediately linked to his dramatic exit from Kelly's show. Though both continued to achieve individual success, Blake with new music and Kelly with a sold-out tour, whenever their names were mentioned together, was no longer about the voice, but about that unforgettable exchange. Behind the scenes. Staffers from the show later revealed in anonymous interviews that the episode had sparked a major overhaul in production guidelines. A new conflict protocol was implemented, including immediate intervention procedures for escalating on-air tension. Producers also began offering optional post-show debriefs for guests, way to process any awkward moments or miscommunications before they turned into headlines. Despite these changes, some insiders expressed concern that the show had lost a bit of its spark, becoming overly cautious in an attempt to avoid another viral disaster. As for Blake and Kelly, they never shared a stage again. Rumors swirled about reconciliation attempts or secret conversations to bury the hatchet, but nothing concrete ever emerged. Instead, their once-beloved dynamic remained frozen in that moment. Two icons, once allies, now divided by a single episode that spiraled out of control and forever redefined how the public saw them. In the aftermath of the fallout, fans remained divided. Some rallied behind Blake Shelton, insisting that he was ambushed by leading questions and provoked on purpose. Others defended Kelly Clarkson, arguing that her show had always been a platform for candid and open discussion, and that Blake's reaction was disproportionate. Online forums and fan pages lit up with analysis, slowed-down clips of facial expressions, and passionate theories about what was said during the commercial break. The viral nature of the incident led to parodies on late-night shows, and even inspired a skit on Saturday Night Live, further cementing the clash in pop culture memory. As the internet dissected every detail, both Blake and Kelly remained largely silent, perhaps realizing that any comment would only fan the flames. But time, as always, began to dull the sharpest edges. Nearly a year after the incident, whispers of a possible behind-the-scenes reconciliation began to circulate. According to unnamed sources close to both camps, a private phone call had taken place where apologies were exchanged and mutual respect was reaffirmed, though no official statement followed. Still, neither artist made a guest appearance on the other's platform again. And the wound, though healed, left a visible scar. Industry insiders took note of how quickly one emotional moment could unravel years of camaraderie and collaboration, while both Blake and Kelly continued thriving in their careers. This chapter served as a cautionary tale, reminding everyone in the spotlight that even the strongest bonds can be tested in the glare of live television and public expectation. Despite the private reconciliation rumors, The entertainment world remained curious about the true nature of Blake and Kelly's current relationship. At award shows, they kept their distance, offering polite waves, but avoiding interviews that might reignite speculation. During interviews promoting his next tour, Blake deflected any questions related to talk shows or daytime TV, choosing instead to focus on his music. Kelly, for her part, subtly revamped the format of her show, opting for more lighthearted segments and pre-screened topics. A quiet acknowledgement of how volatile live unscripted moments could be. It was clear that while the feud had subsided in public discourse, both stars had been permanently changed by the ordeal, more cautious, more guarded, and more aware of how easily the public could turn one moment into a media firestorm. Asterisk still. Fans never gave up hope for a reunion, whether on stage, screen, or simply as friends. Social media campaigns occasionally trended, calling for Blake to return to the Kelly Clarkson Show for a redemption interview, or for Kelly to surprise him during a concert with a peace offering. Neither event came to pass, but their shared history, full of collaboration, rivalry, and undeniable chemistry, remained a beloved chapter in the minds of fans. In the end, what was meant to be a simple talk show appearance had become a cultural moment, one that showed just how fragile even the most seemingly unbreakable bonds could be under the bright lights of celebrity. And though they may never revisit that infamous day, both Blake and Kelly moved forward, wiser, quieter, and forever linked by a fiery exchange that neither of them nor their fans would ever forget. Asterisk.